Hi there, my name is Kay Moon and I'm a twin flame channel and Western astrologer. And this is a video about the new moon in Aries taking place on Friday, April 1st at 2:24 a.m. If you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States, please check a time zone converter for your local time. Before we begin, I'd like to say thank you so much. So many of you have emailed me about having missed the deadline to join the Master Your Chiron Wound workshop and curious if the workshop will be available at a later date for purchase or if you can still get in and just get access to the recording. At present, I have no intention of offering it. It's not on the schedule. However, if you would like to better understand your Chiron wounding, then the best thing to do would be to book a private session with me. Links to my calendar are below. The April and May calendars are open, and it's a great time to have a conversation about this. And the reason why is because at this particular new moon, we have new moon in Aries. You can see it here at 11 degrees, and right next to it, we have the planet Chiron, asteroid planet. This is an interesting energy because this is also coming conjunct Mercury. It is also coming sextile to Vesta, and it is also coming sextile to Ceres. And when we put all of this together, this new moon energy, there is a little bit of a vibration here of, I'd say, some of the walking wounded, making the best out of some of the worst situations in our life. There's a recognition here of where we're at, what's not working, where we're in pain, where we need to heal. And the ego death healing is going to require certain choices, certain sacrifices, certain departures of ways of thinking, ways of behaving, ways of being. And these things are up and they're in our awareness during this particular new moon because of the influence Chiron has on it. Now, if you happened to miss the introduction to the Chiron Wound Workshop, it's a 2-hour special. It is here on YouTube. It is free. I highly recommend you have a listen because it'll help you understand what Chiron represents in your chart and how to work with the energy both in light and shadow. What's interesting about this is that even though there's some of this pain energy surfacing at this new moon, some of this wounded energy surfacing at this new moon, there's a willingness to go through the ego death. There's a willingness to go and get the healing. There's a willingness to walk through the fire, so to speak, to pony up and do what needs to be done. There's a readiness in the air to own our challenges, own our weaknesses, own our wounds. There's a willingness to face the man in the mirror kind of moment to this Aries new moon, and a recognition that if something in our lives are going to shift, if a new beginning is what we want, we're the ones who are going to have to change. It's a bit of that old adage, if you want to change the world, change yourself. Now, there comes with this a real dedication to being better for more than just ourselves. With Vesta sextile this new moon from Aquarius, here's Vesta. She's commitment, dedication, and service. Aquarius, the sign she's placed in, is all about the collective. And there's a real curiosity to find out, well, what is this going to take with Ceres in Gemini? Gemini is a very curious sign, very open-minded, very willing to try out new things. And there's a renewed interest in figuring it all out so that we can be whole. Now, for those who took the Master Your Chiron Wound workshop, the root wound that we talked about in this workshop during this particular Aries new moon will show up for examination. It is a very moody kind of new moon. And this is going to be especially true if you have Chiron in Aries, Chiron in Libra, Chiron in Cancer, or Chiron in Capricorn. These are the cardinal signs. There will be a recognition here of where your healing needs to take place overall And before all other things can move forward for you, like, okay, so I want to buy a house. Okay, so I want to be in a healthy relationship. Okay, so I want to have this kind of job, or I want to start that kind of business, whatever the life goal is for you. There's a recognition at this new moon. All right, well, if that's what I want, what I'm going to have to do is heal this, heal X, Y, or Z, which would surface at this new moon in order for you to get there. Present in all of this will be a sense of, underlying sense of kind of recognizing the story we have in the back of our minds about why we're not good enough to have X. And it's going to be underneath everything. And for some, this will present kind of like a underlying hopelessness. For others, this will present as maybe a little bit of a sense of being forsaken by life, chance, luck, love, forsaken by opportunity. For others, this will come in as a bit of a F it. I'm dead inside anyway, and a very vague numbness. And still for others, there may be a bit of a projection energy. If the energy is moving within you, but you're not sure how to direct it, it'll be a bit like an itch that you can't scratch. So you use the wall for access, for relief, to scratch your back. But be mindful here. It'll be important for us to all be mindful of projecting our pain onto others at this time so that we can relieve ourselves. And we certainly saw a bit of that at the Oscars and the interaction between Will Smith and Chris Rock. What's interesting about this is that Will Smith has Chiron in early degrees of Aries and has been working through the pain of his Chiron return for some time. And that can be a very painful period of time for people who are familiar with the Chiron return. If you've experienced it, you certainly are aware what that can mean. And this new moon directly opposes Will Smith's Venus, heightening his sensitivity. His Venus is in Libra, and that heightens his sensitivities in matters of appearance and acceptability, appropriateness, love, and this can cause many of us at this time, if Venus is involved in this new moon in Aries in any way for you, to really recognize that at times we can feel a bit less than in those areas of life. And if we're ineffective overall at dealing with our pain, or we lack the tools, or we lack the willingness, this is the kind of new moon where our pain can come out sideways, and it will deal with us and force us to look at it, to face it, to pay attention to it. In the American South, we have a name for this. We call this a come to Jesus moment. It's a moment of reckoning where we have no choice but to be honest with ourselves about where we need to grow next if we want the kind of life we say we want. And this moon in Aries is surfacing all of this. It's bringing it all to conscious awareness with Mercury there. Mercury's consciousness, Chiron, there's the wounding, and this new moon with sun and moon conjunct is just shining a light on all of this stuff. This is a moment where maybe we've gotten clear, like I said, about that house we want to buy, that neighborhood we want to live in, and ultimately we are uncovering at this new moon the price we need to pay in order to be able to have it. But unlike home buying, I can't afford it isn't really an option in our soul growth and our soul calling. I can't pay that isn't a choice on the multiple choice list. So in this moment, we're working with the question. And for those of you who journal or do meditation, you can write this down for yourself. What do I need to be willing to do to have something I may have never had? What do I have to be willing to do to heal something that I have struggled with for quite some time? What do I have to be willing to solve for in my personality, in my selfhood, in order to be aligned with precisely what it is I say I want for my life. The question isn't if I can afford to deal with this or not, if I can afford to face the root wound or not. The question is, how can I afford it at this time? And so it's an important distinction, because so often, when it comes to things that we truly want and truly desire, we tell ourselves, oh, I can't afford it. But, if we were to simply make some adjustments in where we're placing our money, we would find our way into affording it. And so if you can apply that metaphysically, right, to the wounding that can be showing up here at this Aries new moon, you may be looking at the placement and the house placement for this Aries new moon, because this is what's important for those of you who know your house placements. This is the place that's going to reveal at this time maybe a little bit of wounding and what needs to happen in this house in order to be able to move this boulder that may have been in the way. And the issue isn't, I can't move this boulder. I'll never move this boulder. I'll always be deficient in this area of life. That's not it. The issue is, okay, so what's it going to take to move this? Do I need to chop the boulder up into pieces and deal with it part by part? Do I need to have a friend or have a team come work with me? Do I need to go find support? Do I need to, get a mentor, a boulder chopping mentor to show me how they have done it? The answer is going to be different for everyone, but it's important that we take the time as this wounding shows up at this Aries new moon to just be reflective about how we want to go about healing at this time. So if you missed the Master Your Chiron Wound workshop, we can certainly solve for this in private session. Links to my April calendar are below. You can find them at kmoonastro.com. If you'd like to talk through this, we certainly can. The reason why talking through this in the now time is important is that the Aries new moon kicks off our astrological new year. And in kicking off the astrological new year, there's a tinge of this vibration and frequency that remains with us until the next new moon. It's a piece of the collective energy that we're all going to be working with for roughly a year's time. And so to get it right this year, to know what it is now, means that you put yourself on a path where you can start the process of not letting it run your show in the background for the rest of this year. You can get on a path where you're not repeating cycles. All right. Let's take a look at some of the other aspects of this new moon that make it such a profound time. We have also a conjunction between the planet Jupiter and the planet Neptune, and this is a significant highlight of this year. They're sitting together in the sign of Pisces, Jupiter at 21 degrees, Neptune at 23. This is a rare energy. It's a beautiful energy for creativity, for intuition. It's a beautiful energy for forgiveness and compassion and faith. There's an optimism with this energy, despite the more pressing energy of that highlighted Chiron energy with the moon. This energy says to us, well, if we want to heal, we can. And it gives us just that little bit of added faith in ourselves that maybe if we try this time, we can be successful. Maybe if we try in this new way, we can actually overcome some of the problems that it may have plagued us. And this gives us that opportunity to see, okay, maybe if I try to let it go at this time, maybe if I try to forgive now, I'll have the chance to really and truly release this. So at this time, you may find courses on forgiveness, workshops on letting go, workshops on healing may cross your path. And I really want to encourage you to take advantage of whatever those are. It doesn't have to be with me. But these things are coming up now because with Jupiter and Neptune in harmony with this South Node placement in Scorpio, there's a real opportunity here to let go of things we have dragged around behind us like an albatross and baggage from 1984. There's an opportunity to let this stuff go at this time, to get free at this time, and to really understand the spiritual reason why we may have encountered some of those hardships in our lives at this time, so that we can have compassion for who we were, compassion for anyone who may have hurt us, and a chance to finally move forward. So whether it's a book or a recording, there's a lot of Ho'oponopono forgiveness meditations here on the internet. There's Reiki for forgiveness here on YouTube. There's, kind of sound frequencies for forgiveness and for faith. If you need support in that area, get it. If it happens to show up, it's not an accident. This is the universe working with you and giving you an opportunity to get off the treadmill of certain pain at this time, so that we can get into new beginning energy as we start 2023, because 2023 is going to be a big year for new beginnings. So pay attention to that, this rare energy for faith, hope, optimism, and forgiveness, and utilize it as your opportunity to finally draw a line in the sand between your past and your future, so that you're not making your future pay for your past. Okay? That's one of the gifts of this energy. Wherever things haven't been right, it's okay. Let go. Let go. There is better coming for you. And this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction signifies the possibility in the collective vibration that we can get that better if we just let go of what wasn't in the past. Okay, so that's an important energy to talk about. That energy is going to be with us into May. And I would say as we close out May, we close out this portal for forgiveness and letting go. If you want to understand how to work with this in your chart, for those of you who are familiar with chart rulers, you want to look to the placement of your natal Neptune, because your natal Neptune will show you what you need to do and how you need to work with this in order to get that healing. And if you're, looking at it and you're like, I still don't really get it, or if you're looking at it and you don't even know what a chart ruler is, let's have a conversation. We can do 30 minutes, look at your chart, and we can find what your personal path to forgiveness is utilizing this energy. It's a significant time for moving into the future by letting go of the past. Other significant energies here at this lunation include a Mars, Saturn, Juno, Venus conjunction. Okay, so the red one is Mars, the brown one is Saturn, Juno is that blue one, Venus is right there, she's that green one, and they're all huddled up together in the last 10 degrees of Aquarius. Specifically, they're huddled up together within 6 degrees of one another, and that's a pretty big, significant energy. Now, I'm going to break this down step by step, but this energy is extraordinarily important in the world of our relationships at this time. So I'm going to walk you through it. But as I walk you through it, I want you to be thinking about where you stand in your relationships, friendships, romantic, work, partnerships, business alliances, neighbors, family, etc. Because this particular conversation is making some big steps for us in the world of relationship. So with this energy, there is, with these two in the middle, Saturn and Juno, commitment is in the air. There's tons of let's make this official energy for many. This is going to be business related. It's going to be romance related. It'll have something for some people to do with money. with the ruler of Aquarius in the financial sign here of Taurus. For other people, this may have to do with body and home and taking something off of the internet and placing it in the real world, taking it off of ideation and placing it in the real world. If you've had like a business idea on the back burner and you just keep putting it off and putting it off, this is a really significant moment for taking it out of ideation and making it real. Okay. What's interesting about this is that for others, this is just going to be kind of plain old, good old fashioned love energy. And for those who broke up during the Venus retrograde, that December, January timeline, this could be where you guys come back together. Because Uranus has been in square to these planets and has passed, these planets have passed their square demarcation mark to Uranus. There have been some shakeups in love. There have been some shakeups in commitments, and generally just changes in directions of commitment and changes in alliances that may have seemed to have come suddenly, seemed to have come out of nowhere. Now, what's interesting about this to me as an astrologer, and that really stands out as something important to share with you, is the way that these four planetary energies are squaring at a 90-degree angle the nodal axis at this time. So we've got North Node here, 23 degrees of Taurus, South Node, 23 degrees of Scorpio. There will be a North Node class that I'm teaching later this year. So just hang tight. If you're like, I need to know about the nodes, I'm going to give you a quick primer to help you understand this new moon in Aries energy. And because this is the kickoff to our collective astrological year, we're going to be dealing with the themes that I'm breaking down here for a good 12 months. So understand this for yourself so that you can understand how to work with it. North Node Taurus. This is all about moving toward more self-love, making how we feel, what we value real in the third dimension, valuing our body. But Taurus is also about femininity. It's about allowing and leaning into and embracing our feminine energy. North Node is what we are collectively transiting North Node, what we are collectively being asked to learn. Transiting South Node, this is what we already know how to do and what we are being asked to let go of. The more we lean into North Node behaviors, the easier life gets. The more we act on and rely on South Node behaviors, the harder life gets. So what's the South Node? South Node Scorpio. This is all about it's interesting, right? Because Scorpio collectively, if we were to talk about it, Scorpio kind of rules that cancel culture, ghosting, let's just cut things off and end it vibration, as opposed to a let's work with it and work through it kind of energy. Scorpio is also about hiding things in the shadow. It's also about alchemy, transformation. Let's just throw it in the shape shifting machine and get it to be a different shape. What's interesting about this, when we see these commitment energies in square to that nodal axis, what we have here, anytime we have a planetary square to the nodal axis, what we're dealing with is an opportunity for a redo. It is a chance to make things right. It's a chance to revisit a choice that we may have made in the past that didn't go so well for us. And now we have the opportunity to do it again in the way that can work out way better for us than it ever has before. The choice that's going to be the right choice is the choice that's aligned with North Node Taurus. The choice that's going to be the choice that will drag us is whichever choice is aligned with South Node Scorpio. So we all have to think about this. This energy here, we have partnerships, commitments, alliances, we have agreements, contracts, Saturn and Juno there. We have commitments to the collective. This is all sitting in Aquarian energy. right? Some of these things are up for revisitation at this time, even though it's not a retrograde at this time. When you have a square to the nodal axis, this redo talks about something you have done in a past life. Could be past in this lifetime, could be past life. That maybe you've done it and you missed the lesson. You did it in a way that was aligned with Scorpio South Node instead of Taurus North Node, life preserving North Node. And now you are being asked to revisit this at this time with an opportunity and an eye toward getting it right. So again, that North Node Taurus is okay, which alliances? The question is which alliances, which commitments, which kind of things are we going to follow through on that preserve life, that value who we are, that allow us to become and stay our best self here in the third dimension. The obvious choice to avoid is any choice that's going to be self-destructive with the Scorpio South Node. And you would know it because you've experienced self-destruction in that direction in the past. And so this is your chance to be self-preserving, okay? Self-valuing. Like I said, for some of you, this will have to do with business, for others, money, for some, love. It's going to depend on these placements in your chart. Now, if you're already feeling that there's a significance and a consequence to this period of time, and you already can see like, okay, I do have two choices in front of me and I do need to make the best choice for myself, but I don't know how to do that. Then the way to do that would be, if you want to have a conversation with me, we can walk through the choices and I can help illuminate for you where there was something life-giving in the past, where there was something self-destructive in the past, and where the life-giving choice is at in the future. Okay, so if you want some coaching around that based on your astrological chart, just go ahead and book a reading at kmoonastro.com and we can look at that. Now, what's also interesting here is that when we break this little conversation down a little bit further, Mars and Saturn, when they're sitting together, they bring a very particular vibration that bears speaking to on their own. Even though Saturn is conjunct here with Juno, I want to speak to this Mars-Saturn thing really quick, because they're inside of the mix here. There's some motivation, there's some stamina to do the hard things. And the energy here can bring out a hardening of Mars and its shadow energy. This can be a hardening of doing it my way. This can be a hardening of retaliation, even energy. There can be a double down on this is how it, quote unquote, should be energy, where it comes to matters of diplomacy, where it comes to matters of fairness, when it comes to matters of trying to make sure that there's a win-win-win situation. Interestingly enough, with this can also, it can also play out in shadow, because when we have a hard should energy, shoulding tends to come from the head. It doesn't come from the heart. It's focused on right and wrong. And it's focused on directing others instead of transforming ourselves. There's a forcing our will upon other people. And that's the danger here with Mars and Saturn sitting together in the sign of the collective. There can be a bit of a paternalistic energy, a little bit of a, I know better than you what is good for you kind of energy. And that can always lead to a lot of separation when we don't allow people to be sovereign with us and stay inside of our sovereignty with them. In the light, this makes us really motivated to figure out the best path forward with others and solidify commitments and the continuation of the best path. But in the shadow, as I said, it can be a little bit paternalistic, a little bit, I know better than you what's good for you. So just make sure to stand in your sovereignty and give people the opportunity to stand in theirs. And as your pain is coming up, work into compassion with yourself and transparency with yourself and others so that you're not projecting that pain onto other people. Okay. All right. That's kind of it. So I want to just say in conclusion, look, if you're an Aries or a Taurus, happy birthday, babes. For those of you who are the March Aries, hope you had a good one. For those of you who are the Taurus or the April Taurian people, you got a great one coming up. And the April Aries, happy birthday. It's a great time to get your chart read and look at what's coming up for you in the year ahead in love, money, and health and work. If you've enjoyed this video and heard something that resonates for you, I'm going to encourage you to hit that like button and invite you to subscribe if you're new. I'm here at the new and the full moon, and these videos will give you an opportunity to understand how to work with this energy from the light so that the energy isn't working with you from the shadow. Take great care and bye for now.